Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, April 12th, 2017, the 156-year anniversary of the start of the Civil War, a war which had to do much with race and slavery. One of the headlines was Sheila Abdus-Salaam, the first African-American woman appointed to the New York Court of Appeals, was found dead floating in the Hudson River. Think about it. First black woman appointed to the courts, symbolic, dead on the anniversary of the war that had much to do with slavery. And just real quick, some things I observe about this story. Again, something to understand. There are people of all races selling us out in this world. If somebody's a judge, they're a sellout to humanity. They put on the witch's gown and they go up there and enforce the laws that no one should. You know, the United States of America is a bankrupt nation when it comes to laws. Locking up innocent people, wasting lives, protecting white-collar criminals, protecting the people who actually hurt people, the people who make the big lies that bankrupt families, that start wars. You know, this is what the United States of America is. Pick on the poor people. Pick on the people who are down and out, who have a little substance abuse. Protect the real criminals. So anyone who's a judge, I don't have much sympathy for. You put on the witch's gown, you know, you should be floating in the river as far as I'm concerned. But that's not the point here. The point is one black woman is dead floating in the river on the anniversary of the start of the Civil War. And with regards to her name gematria, Sheila Abdus-Salaam 113 and 311, these are numbers of Freemasonry and the Zionist Jews. And it's interesting that she has an Islamic name, seeing as how, you know, the biggest enemies of the Zionist Jews are black people and Islamic people. It's hard to say, True Seeker. I wasn't there to see this woman's body get fished out of the river, if that even happened. What I wonder is this woman really dead, or is this retirement? Is this the way she escapes her role as judge? It doesn't really matter. The symbolism of this story is the fact that a black woman is floating in the river on the anniversary of the start of the Civil War. If you follow my work, you know about these numbers, what's so significant about them, how often they're coded into purposeful propaganda. Notice her last name too, Abdus-Salaam. Very important number for judge. Abdus 47, Salaam 47, judge 47, gavel 47, obey 47, authority 47. We just saw the ritual of them putting in Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court on April 7th, 4/7. You take this gematria knowledge, you walk into your court in your city, and you look at the judges on the wall, and you take their names. You know, maybe you got on your cell phone. On your cell phone, go to gematrinator.com, pull up the calculator, and just type the names of the judges that you see on the wall. I guarantee you, if not all of them, the majority of them, their names are going to sum to 47. It's because there's a Masonic conspiracy going on in this nation, and the majority of judges in any city are connected through Freemasonry. 47, the number of degrees on the Freemason compass, that's their symbol. And remember, Freemasonry crosses all religions. You know, there's Muslims who are Freemason, there's Christians, there's Jews. Freemasonry is Judaism for the Gentiles. That's why Freemasonry is based in the Old Testament. That's why the Zionist nation of Israel was established in 47. But again, yesterday, April 12th, the start of the Civil War in 1861. Slavery 102. Nigger 102. A lot of people get mad at me that I say that word out loud. If you're one of those people, you're just weak. You don't understand what the point of language is or knowledge is. Am I calling people names? You see? Little crybaby idiots just need to learn to keep their mouth shut. I'm teaching you knowledge, not calling people names. Big difference. If you're too dumb to understand, just keep your mouth shut. Stupid people don't need to be heard from. Also, this woman found floating in the Hudson River. Seems that the Zionist Jews named this river once upon a time for putting bodies in, because 144 is their favorite number to kill by. And in a moment, I'm going to show you something more about the death of Charlie Murphy yesterday. something I overlooked. But Hudson River has the 144 gematria. It also has the 153 gematria, which also makes a lot of sense. In the Bible, the miraculous catch of 153 fish, a river fish. They used to teach in school that there were 153 species of fish in the world. 153 is also a number that often gets paired with 42, number stamped on black people, slavery 42, February 42, Black History Month, the only month that sums to 42, nigger also 42, Freemason 42, Freemasons believe in divide and conquer. They've created this language and so much more. But anyway, 153 often getting paired with 42. The word female is also 42, lady 42, bitch 42. Remember Barack Obama's second Attorney General, Loretta Lynch? All part of a sick joke. Lynch, black man. Loretta Lynch also had that 153 coding. They said that she was seen about 1:45 on a clock. That's when the hands are on the 1 and the 9. If you read about the Quran code, 19 is the most important number in the Quran. Muhammad Ali had the 19-mile funeral procession. Muhammad Ali murdered by the numbers. I predicted he'd die at 74 in 2014. You know, the reflection of 47, special numbers. Masonic 74, killing 74, Muhammad 74, Jesus 74, cross 74. So anyhow, there's that news story. Very suspicious. Then somebody who saw my work on Charlie Murphy made this comment about the film Mr. Church that Eddie Murphy, the brother of Charlie Murphy, was last in. He left a good comment here. He made one mistake. It's not a big deal, but I'm going to show you what I caught on top of this. Notice this film, Mr. Church, runs an hour and 44, 144. The word time in Jewish gematria, 144. The word killer in Jewish gematria, 144. This film truly has a lot to do with the death of Charlie Murphy, the brother of Eddie Murphy, who starred in this film. And this film seems to have a lot to do with Eddie Murphy and the Murphy family. Look at the release date, September 16th, 2016. That date in most parts of the world is written 16/9. The name Eddie Murphy has gematria of 169. The day this film came out, Mr. Church. I'm going to show you what this film has to do with the death of Charlie Murphy. Also Dylan Stormroof, who shot up the Charleston Church. Also the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing of September 15th, 1963. Came out a day before this, or that happened a day before this in history. The release of this film, September 15th. So, the release of the film, September 16th, 2016, date was 61 numerology. Let me zoom that in. Date was 61 numerology. The name Murphy has gematria of 61. So does the word church. This is Mr. Church starring Eddie Murphy, releasing on a date with 61 numerology. In case you don't know, 61 is a very important number to Christianity. I'll cover that here in a second. But it's a lot bigger than church. Anyhow, the Civil War began April 12th, 1861. His brother died on the anniversary of the start of the Civil War, which began in Charleston, where we had the recent church shooting with Dylan Stormroof. But just again, another 61. Special number 61. The 18th prime number. So look at this. Mr. Church, the title of the film, sums to 124. And look at what day Charlie Murphy died. 12/4. You know, 12/4, April 12th. A lot like 124. Mr. Church also has gematria of 43. Like Charlie, like Charleston, where the Civil War began April 12th, 1861. Civil War 43, Charleston 43. You see? 43 is a really big number in the Civil War, very important to the election of Lincoln. His death, Lincoln was born on the 43rd day of the year, February 12th. He died 43 days after being reelected, plus more. So, let's take a moment and connect this to racist symbolism of the past. Dylan Stormroof, the Charleston church shooter, a shooting that followed the shooting of Walter Scott in the back by police in Charleston, which was at the same time as the story of Freddie Gray being killed by the cops in Baltimore. The Civil War began in Charleston. Supposedly there was no casualties in the first battle, and then the first casualties were a week later in Baltimore, the same day Freddie Gray died. If you haven't seen my work on Freddie Gray, check it out. But real quick, let's connect this. First, we're going to go back to the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing. 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, September 15th, 1963. Supposedly 4 little girls were killed, all black. It was a black church. The date of this bombing, notice it happened on the 33rd parallel. If you missed my work on Charlie Murphy's death yesterday, 33, very symbolic number of sacrifice. This church on the 33rd parallel on 16th Street got a bombing. In truth, I suspect that this was fake news, just like it is today, but I could be wrong. They could have actually done this. But you look at all that's coded in, it's very suspicious. The date it happened was a date with 43 numerology. You know, again, our Civil War number. Think about race, the Civil War, division, divide and conquer, Freemason tactics. It was also a date with 106 numerology. And the film that released, Mr. Church, it released on the day that leaves 106 days left in the year. We're going to get to that. But look, here's a shot from the Charleston church shooting the day it happened. I have a video from the day of, and I talked about this. I said, why do they have a fire truck parked out front, number 106, that's flying a Tea Party flag? This is the same shot, same fire truck, number 106 flying the Tea Party flag. You know, the Tea Party is this predominantly white political party. Here you have a white supremacist shooting up a black church. Look at this. Tea Party 106, just like the number on the church, or the number on the fire truck. And this is a number of prophecy and destruction. And what's going on in this world is we're living in a world that's controlled by Freemasons and Zionist Jews who've plotted an agenda of false flags and tyranny to steer the people. And along the way, they ritually murder the celebrities that people are familiar with as ritual, connected to all the rest of this ongoing propaganda and the history that we know. That this is what goes on every day in this world, and you'll only know it, you know, if you're aware and you know this language of gematria and the significance of these numbers and why they're put before us. What was done in Charleston is nothing new. They always do this. Use prop vehicles from fire trucks to ambulance to police cars with the right number. 106, very special number to this gang. This film, you know, came out September 16th, Mr. Church, with Eddie Murphy, leaving 106 days left in the year. You know, Church, Charleston church shooting. Real quick, to take you back in time, do you remember what day Walter Scott was shot? It's easy to remember, actually. It was April 4th, the 47-year anniversary of the killing of Martin Luther King Jr. It was 2015. And then the church shooting was June 17th, 2015. That was the anniversary of the death of Rodney King at age 47. 47, the number of degrees on the Freemason compass. Still got to show you something about that Mr. Church movie. But just look, from the Walter Scott killing to the church shooting, both in Charleston, was 74 days, right? The church was on Calhoun Street. Calhoun with the alphabetic order, 74. They said that the killer was Dylan, with 2 N's, Stormroof, you know, gematria of 74. They said he was a white supremacist, 74. Notice also the 97. Civil War has the gematria of 97 as well. You know, the Civil War began in Charleston in 97. But anyway, we're focusing on the 74 for now. White supremacist, Dylan Stormroof, Calhoun. Again, Freemasonry, divide and conquer. Masonic 74, killing 74. You know, he shot up a Christian church that was doing Bible study class. Bible study class also has the 97. Again, like, you know, Civil War. This is a recreation of the Civil War. It came at the same time as the news of Freddie Gray in Baltimore, where the first casualty happened. Look, Freddie Gray was injured on April 12th, if you remember the story, and died a week later, April 19th. The Civil War in history began on April 12th, and the first casualty was in Baltimore, April 19th, when gray coats killed protesters. Freddie Gray, dead on April 19th in Baltimore. Bible study class, if you take into account your S exceptions, or what Derek has called the single reduction with the website he's built, is also 74. You see? If I remember right, they arrested Dylan Stormroof on Interstate 74, you know? So let's come back to this, to the film now. You know, this film has another major overlap. So Eddie Murphy stars in this film, right? Eddie Murphy, where do I have him at? Eddie Murphy is born April 3rd, 1961. Notice he's born in 61 on April 3rd, which is the 93rd day of the year. And his birth name is Edward Reagan Murphy. Check it out. Edward Reagan Murphy. His name gematria is the same as his birthday. And yesterday in the video that I made, a lot of people didn't appreciate my comment about saying how the celebrities, the people who entertain us, who govern over us, have largely been farmed. They've been born through ritualistic breeding. They've been named accordingly. There's been C-sections to make sure these babies are born on the right dates. This is true for your entire celebrity world, from actors to musicians to, you know, everything else. Your politicians, the whole show that you see on TV, your world of celebrity, you are looking at people who have been farmed, truly. And that's why the powers that shouldn't be kill these people like they're animals. Because they pretty much are. I mean, we are animals. And these people have truly been farmed for a purpose. To play a sport. You know, to be a singer. To be an actor. To be the president of the United States. Presidents are born and bred to be. They are not voted in. Our whole election process is a big show that I can't believe anybody falls for. You know? Too chemically dumbed down in this society. And also, just to remind, this number 93 is so important. This number represents Saturn, the keeper of time, which has to do with death and judgment. Remember, Charlie Murphy's death is connected to Prince's death last April at 57. Charlie Murphy dead this April, 57. Prince dead last April at 57. Number of the Scottish Rite, Freemasonry. Charlie Murphy remembered for his Prince skit, dying on the last day of the basketball season. The Prince skit's all about basketball and pancakes. Anyway, Prince died on the 93rd meridian in Chanhassen, just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's no coincidence that Minneapolis, Minnesota equals 93. They're on the 93rd parallel. This year on April 3rd, the Minnesota Timberwolves were one of two teams to play in the NBA. The other was Oregon, the Blazers, the only state established on a date with 93 numerology. Minnesota, the only NBA team to win on the 93rd day of the year. And the NBA Finals last year were won with 93 points in Game 7 by the Cavs. And speaking of Cavs in Minnesota, do you remember that last year Flip Saunders died before the season began, who was from Cleveland, born February 23rd, coaching in Minnesota? All of this stuff is intertwined. This is all part of one big, sick, ongoing ritual of human sacrifice and rigged sports and planned media. But Dylan Stormroof has this same birthday as Eddie Murphy. You know, the man who shot up the church in Charleston. Now is, you know, Eddie Murphy's brother dead after the release of Mr. Church on the start or the anniversary of the start of the Civil War. Not to mention Dylan Stormroof was just in the headlines pleading to get out of his murder sentence. All propaganda. You know, this guy didn't kill anybody. He's just another actor. It's a completely contrived story out of Charleston. The Walter Scott story is made up. The Dylan Stormroof story is made up. It's just to piss people off. If you're watching the TV and accepting the information that comes through it and you're letting that have an impact on your life, you have no one to blame but yourself. Okay? You have no one to blame but yourself, especially in light of what I've been showing people since 2013. Everybody should have known after September 11, 2001. Honestly, if you have trusted the TV for a second ever since September 11, 2001, you're not a very smart person. You were lied to so horribly that day. You were treated like you were the biggest moron on earth. And the majority of people have responded by showing that they are the biggest morons to ever exist. On September 11th, what were you told? That buildings collapsed because planes hit them an hour earlier, and they told you they couldn't find the planes, but they found the paper passports of the terrorists. Turbans, they said that they found cloth turbans and box cutter knives. They couldn't find the planes or the bodies of anybody else, but they found the terrorist passports, the turbans, and the box cutter knives. I mean, think about how stupid people are to accept that. And everyone did. This is why the Zionist Jews get away with what they get away with. Because they know that the masses are goy, and goy are stupid. If you listen to my radio show last night, I said I shouldn't say that. But you know, when I really just start thinking about things, I'm like, no, people are stupid. They're most definitely stupid. That's why all this is happening. You got to be stupid to not see what's going on in this world. The character in the film that Eddie Murphy plays, his name is Henry Joseph Church, gematria of 96, like Freemason. Hold on, I got to refresh this. All right. Mr. Church also has gematria of 47, like Christian, like Bible study class. I got to write a name in here. This is a test. See if anybody remembers this name. Does this name ring any bells for you? Debbie Dills? Debbie Dills is the woman who's credited with discovering the whereabouts of Dylan Stormroof, which led to his arrest. You can go back and watch the interview of Debbie Dills by CNN. Just completely fictional names, you know? Completely bogus propaganda that is so transparent. But anyway, this film, Mr. Church, 47, Christian 47, the director of the film, Beresford, a Jew, 47, Zionist Nation of Israel, established in 47. Look, the Freemason compass, it's set at 47 degrees, and I'll show you something about Israel. 47th problem of Euclid. See how that sums to 333? 333. The reason that matters is Israel was established on the 333rd day of the year 47 with a 33-member vote by the United Nations. And again, Freemasonry based in Jewish history, Freemasonry, Zionism, running the world by the numbers, even creating nations by the numbers. Israel's only, one of many nations that's been created by the numbers by these Freemasons. It's no secret why our birthday is July 4th. We're the Jewish nation before Israel. The word foundation equals 47. The 47th problem of Euclid is about establishing foundation. Look, I mean, is it hard to see who created our language? You got to be blind. You really have to be dumb also to deny this work. I mean, who could ever chalk this stuff up to coincidence? Only a moron. Only a moron. So a few more things before we go. Some people made some other good connections right out here. This friend he caught from the 1989 film that Eddie Murphy directed, Harlem Nights. He said that Charlie was in that, Arsenio Hall, Red Fox. Came out on a date with 118 numerology, which is a number of death. I realize a lot of people who follow my work, they've learned what the numbers mean and then they show where they show up. But make sure if you're one of these people, like if you're this guy who posted this message, make sure when you're explaining this to other people, explain what 118 means, because people don't know. It's like I like having Derek on my radio show, and Derek, he's learned this information really fast, and Derek's who's built the gematria calculator. But a lot of times when Derek's explaining things and breaking it down, he's not saying what any of the numbers mean, and for people who already know, it doesn't matter, but I know that most people don't know what any of these numbers mean, so it needs to be explained every time, He points out that Harlem has the 144 connection too, just like how they coded it in the film. Again, Eddie Murphy's also from Brooklyn, New York, where so many celebrities come from, because this is a Zionist Mecca. Brooklyn, New York, clearly named by the Zionists. Brooklyn, New York, 223, right? Just like the Synagogue of Satan, 223. Remember, the synagogue of Satan's named in the Bible in the letter written to the Church of Philadelphia, 2:2-3. Here we're talking about church. Notice Philadelphia is 101. Church is also 101. Letter to the Church of Philadelphia. I told you I was going to tell you about Christian 61, Christian 61, Christmas 61, Jesus 61, Cross 61, you know, Solar Deity 61, Time 61, you know, and I know you're seeing the other 47s that are pulling up too, but look, I don't want to tell people that Jesus isn't a real spiritual energy. I've been told from enough people who are Christians that, you know, Jesus has done amazing things for them. So I'm not going to dismiss the existence of Jesus, but what I am going to say to you guys is I think that Jesus, just like Muhammad, just like so many other things, is a real spiritual energy. And I think what I've learned from this research is these numbers, they have spiritual power. And that's why a name like Jesus has these numbers coded into it, just like Muhammad. You know, Muhammad, very similar numbers. You go through the spiritualities of the world and decode, you're going to see a lot of 47 and 74 and 33. There's some greater power to these numbers. And, you know, a lot of people who've taken the time to apply this knowledge, they've seen how they've showed up in their own lives. But, you know, there's a reason for everything. And here the focus is 61, again, a very Christian number. I mean, you know, think about John in terms of Christianity, telling the story. But there's a reason, you know, that Charlie Murphy's dead, that he's the brother of Eddie Murphy, the way this whole ritual works out. They said he was fighting the leukemia battle, you know. When my video first got put up, YouTube just kept it at 102 views forever on the 102nd day of the year, the biggest thing I talked about in the video I put out yesterday. If you missed this video, you know, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Put out a lot of content. I try to keep up with all the propaganda in the news because, and again, there's no ads on my channel. I'm the hardest working man on YouTube who makes no money from it because I just want people to know. I want these sick rituals to come to an end. I want people to stop fighting over their, you know, false spiritualities or, you know, their religions that were just created to divide them. People got to wake up and see what's going on in this world. So it looks like the word's getting out a little bit. 30,000 views since they had it frozen at 102. Yeah, people got to know about all this stuff, you know. Why did Sean Spicer have to Why did Sean Spicer have to apologize for the Holocaust on April 11th, you know? Why were they dragging an Asian man down an aisle of a plane on April 11th in the news? There's a reason for all of this news. It's all tributes to the past. Tributes to propaganda of the past. Look at this. Holocaust, 114, April 11th, 11/4. History. World War. Pearl Harbor. See, it's all contrived. You drag an Asian man down the aisle of a plane and make it a national news story on 11/4. You know? Asian man. Pearl Harbor Day. 144 used all the time in killing and war. You know? They come out and say his name's David Dow, 33, DD, 44, 44, D's the fourth letter, 44, like 44, like Asian. You know? Like military. This is what all of this is part of the same picture. I'm doing this right now so you guys get it. We're talking about World War. We're talking about Civil War. We're sending missiles over at Syria. You know, we're stepping on Russia's toes. It's all part of a big show. It's all about war, control, subliminal messages, taking you to the next phase of the New World Order's plan. So if you're not subscribed, if you're not watching these videos, you really are missing out on the most important information in the world, you know? You can't find anything else in this world more important that's going on. There's no knowledge. You could go to some Ivy League school. You're not going to get taught anything more important than what I'm teaching right here for free. You know, you could cough up 100 G's a year to go to the best university in the world. You're not going to learn something that you can learn for free on this channel. And my girlfriend gets mad at me for saying that all the time because she's in school right now, you know. But it's true. It's true. Some people this work doesn't resonate with, like my girlfriend. My girlfriend doesn't know 2 things about gematria, even though she lives with me, you know? She doesn't take any time to listen, like so many other people. But people got to learn to listen. You know? People got to learn to recognize what's real. Also, please, I think maybe the most important video I made this week was this one about Bill Cosby's censorship. Long video here. A lot of information. Dylan Stormroof, you know, check that video out about his plea. You know, Russell Westbrook, numbers stamped on black people, finishing the year with 42 career triple-doubles. You know, surpassing Oscar Robertson, who has 181 all-time career triple-doubles, the 42nd prime. Did anyone notice that LeBron James lost his final game of the season, and the sum of the game was 181 points? Again, LeBron James, 42. They do the same thing again and again and again. I saw the Bulls got a win yesterday, went in with 112, you know. People got to wake up. What's going on? Speaking of 112, you know, I should tell you something about that. Remember, Chicago, the Zionist Mecca. Brooklyn, the Zionist Mecca. Chicago Bulls, Zionist. You know what I mean? Who runs your NBA? That alien-looking motherfucker, Adam Silver, looks like he came straight from the planet Mars. Silver. These Zionist Jews, they name themselves accordingly. Why is an alien running the NBA? Silver, 85. Basketball, 85. March Madness, the term coined in 85. Also, with regards to the NBA, this person made a great catch. It was 67 days from the Super Bowl, where the Patriots won in their 57th season, the sports championship number, to the death of Charlie Murphy at 57. You know what? Super Bowl 112. Prince died last year on the 112th day of the year. He performed in Super Bowl 41. He performed Purple Rain at that Super Bowl. That Super Bowl was on a date with 42 numerology, and it was the first time in the history of the Super Bowl that it rained at the Super Bowl, the day Prince performed Super Bowl, or Purple Rain, at Super Bowl 41. Purple Rain equals 58, like Freemasonry. Vanity died just before the 58th Grammys, you know. It's not hard to see. But anyway, Prince last year, his death, major connections to all of the sports championships as I documented. Go back and see the work. But again, it's all Zionism running the show. Controlling sports, you know, entertainment, media, television, doing things by their numbers. The day Prince died was a date with 41 numerology. Again, he performed in Super Bowl 41. Last year, the owner of the Colts, Prince, the Super Bowl he performed in, the Colts won it. Last year, Jim Irsay, to show you, Jim Irsay, on the anniversary of Purple Rain, notice Purple Rain, Jim Irsay, 58. Jim Irsay, 112. On the anniversary of Purple Rain, Jim Irsay bought Prince's guitar that he used to perform in Super Bowl 41. You see? Prince dead on the 112th day of the year. All sick rituals. And this Jim Irsay is a psychopath. That's what people don't understand. They worship these celebrities that are truly psychopaths. Somebody just played a clip. I can't find it online, but yesterday I have a friend nearby who found my work. I've become friends through him because of this work. He's a musician, and he found a clip from Sting, the musician, in 1988 at a concert talking about his song Murder by Numbers. And he gets up on the mic and he goes, all these people criticize this song. They say Beelzebub wrote it, Satan wrote it, Lucifer wrote it. He named all these evil entities that he said people accuse him of writing the song Murder by Numbers. Murder by Numbers is about how easy it is to murder someone to boost your status. And Sting, after he gets naming this list of all these accusations of who wrote the song, he goes, all these people are wrong. I wrote the song. And then he gets right into singing it. And I'm guessing most people in the show, who are people like my father's a huge fan of Sting. If my dad was at that show, he wouldn't connect the dots. He would just think, I love Sting's music. I'm glad he's singing again. But what Sting said by doing that lecture in 1988 about the song Murder by Numbers, if you never listened to that song, listen to it. Sting's saying, like, look, man, you think Satan and Lucifer is bad. You don't know nothing. You don't know how bad this man is that you're looking on the stage. I think a lot of these musicians, if these people really are dying, not just musicians, I think a lot of these entertainers are really killing the people around them because they have to maintain. Otherwise, it'll be them. I think that's what you see going on in the world. I think if Notorious B.I.G. is really dead, I think he was murdered by Jay-Z. I think that's what all the evidence points to. And, you know, that's why these people don't get caught, because they're in the Masonic clique. They're all protected. Freemasonry runs your police, your courts, your government. You know, you can murder if you're within the authority. You're protected. So anyway, learn the language of gematria, way beyond coincidence, ongoing murder rituals all the time. But at the end of the day, you know, a lot of these people, they get what they asked for. This judge, they got what they asked for. These celebrities who get murdered, you know what? They're working for bad people. You work for Hollywood, you work for a bad organization. I don't know why anyone would ever raise their child to want them to work for these celebrities. All the powers that shouldn't be due is put out poisonous filth. Look at what Hollywood produces. For every decent film that has a decent moral story, I don't even know if they make films like that anymore. You know, there's a million that just are perversion. Murder, you know, murder, explosion. And I'm not one to hate on sex, but, you know, people's minds are always on sex, and if your mind's always on sex, which the media tries to do, you're distracted, and you can't focus on things that truly are more important. You learn about Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism, you know, it's all about ascension, trying to get to that ultimate enlightenment, that ultimate spiritual enlightenment. And at the very bottom of that, you know, chart, that description of how to get there, the base level is being stuck on sex. Now look, this is the Jewish practice, Kabbalah, you know, about how to reach the pinnacle. Well, what are they doing? They're giving everybody stuff so that they stay at the very base, so that they can't ascend. It's not hard to see. But again, this video, you know, going off on all my tangents as I always do, getting a little long in the tooth. I'm going to cut it off right here. All these posts will be linked below with the Gematrinator calculator, the date duration calculator. You know, be sure to sub, Truth Seeker. Don't let these videos go to waste. Knowledge you need to know. Until next time.